Did you know that Facebook was down this morning? It was apparently trending on Twitter, and just literally the website wouldn't load. Well, that's just a funny little side note. The funnier news is that Facebook's trying to fire Mark Zuckerberg. Or I should say, shareholders have launched a bid to remove Mark Zuckerberg and abolish the firm's share structure during annual shareholders meeting. Social site has called on its investors to strike it down. Well, it seems like it's your investors who actually want to get rid of Mark Zuckerberg, which would be kind of weird considering, I mean, he's started and run the company forever. But admittedly, as many of you are probably aware, Facebook sucks and it's dying, and I don't even really use it anymore. I basically just use Messenger, and Facebook is aware of this, which is why they're investing so heavily. They're investing so heavily into Messenger, WhatsApp, etc. But Instagram is the fastest growing social network right now. Oof. Facebook investors are trying to oust Mark Zuckerberg as chairman and also rid themselves of the company's share structure. In an SEC filing from Friday, the company listed the various proposals that will be tabled during the May 30th annual shareholder meeting. Including in the 8 stockholder proposal are 2 that attempt to create noticeable change at Facebook. One of the proposals, stockholder proposal regarding an independent chair, posits that an independent executive be hired to replace Zuckerberg as Facebook's chairman. Facebook has asked for its investors to vote the proposal down. Investors controlling roughly $3 billion of Facebook stock support the measure, but it still has a large probability of not gaining ground. Yes, because I think, what is it? Okay, so I think they mentioned it's like 10 times in the other direction. The issue stems from Facebook's dual-class share structure. They allow their Class B shares to have 10 times the voting power of their Class A shares. Zuckerberg owns roughly 75% of the Class B stock. The exceptional power is part of the second proposal's aim to quash. It calls for fair and appropriate mechanisms through which disproportionate rights of Class B shareholders could be eliminated. They are trying to get rid of Mark Zuckerberg in 2 ways: directly ousting him and also changing the voting structure so that they have more power. Here's what they said. Fake news, election interference, and threats to our democracy, shareholders need more than deny, deflect, and delay. We urge shareholders to vote for a recapitalization plan for all outstanding stock, to have 1 vote per share. Facebook has also called for its investors to strike down that proposal. Civil war within Facebook. I think that's it for the story. But there's a couple other stories we're going to talk about. Because why should Mark Zuckerberg be removed? Well, I don't know about Mark Zuckerberg needing to be removed, but I will say Facebook stop. Facebook should just stop. I would like to see Facebook be over. Let me tell you a story. First, take a look at this photograph. For those that are just listening and not watching, is an image of Mark Zuckerberg smiling as he walks down the middle of a convention of some sort where everyone's wearing VR goggles and it's just nightmarish and dystopian. This is an image of the Matrix, right? This image exemplifies so much that's becoming wrong with our world, and maybe always has been, that most people are distracted and locked inside some kind of VR while the one person who controls it walks around in, free to be in reality. Now look, obviously, the reality of this photo is people are testing out new VR tech. It's not that big of a deal, but it does exemplify the nightmarish dystopia we're headed for. Admittedly, though, I did say the other day, you know what, let's just allocate all resources to developing neural link technology so that we can just plug ourselves into Skyrim and just disappear. Could you imagine if you could actually sync your brain with a VR experience so you were literally seeing and feeling whatever was happening in your virtual experience? Yes. Unfortunately, while I can be rational and say it's just a product demo that looks creepy, Facebook accidentally leaves hidden messages in tens of thousands of VR controllers. And what did Facebook say? Big Brother is watching. Okay, Big Brother is watching. The Masons were here in tens of thousands. Nate Mitchell, the co-founder of Oculus, the Facebook-owned VR company, said on Twitter on Friday that the company inadvertently printed some unusual messages in its touch controllers, handheld devices for playing games and navigating VR environments. Yeah, it's Oculus. These messages were intended only for prototypes. Why would the prototypes have Big Brother is watching on them? Like, why would your prototype even need to have those hidden messages? But a mistake meant they were included in regular production devices. Some messages were included in developer kits for people building software for the product, while others made their way into consumer devices in significantly large numbers. While there should have been no internal messages of any kind in any of the devices, a Facebook representative told Business Insider that the company would not recall them. Damn. Unfortunately, some Easter egg labels meant for prototypes accidentally made it onto the internal hardware for tens of thousands of touch controllers, Mitchell wrote. Let me talk about Facebook and Big Brother. A lot of people, I think I made a video about this last year. A lot of people noticed that they would talk about certain issues, and then when they were in their Messenger app, they would actually get advertisements for things they were sending to each other. So there was a photo going around where someone mentioned wanting to go buy food, and they got an ad for the Food Network. And they said, is Facebook spying on our private messages? Ultimately, I think the answer was no. But outside of this, there's a phenomenon that happens very, very frequently where you will notice an advertisement for something you were just talking about. So I'll tell you a story. My brother and I went to Walmart. We were walking down past the tech aisle, past it, and there were TVs in the middle of the aisle on sale for like $350, this specific brand of TV. And my brother pointed and he was like, oh, those are really cheap. It's like a year ago. And it's like, oh yeah, damn, like we might need a TV. All right, well, maybe we won't get it. But maybe we'll need to get a TV soon. Later that day, I opened up Facebook and I saw an advertisement for the exact TV. The same TV, the same price, and it was a photo of the TV in the middle of an aisle. And I thought, God damn, that's really weird, isn't it? So maybe Facebook is spying, right? So people tend to believe that these networks, Facebook or otherwise, they're Big Brother, they're listening to what you say. That's a nightmarish prospect, isn't it? That Big Brother really is watching, and they're sending out messages just as a wink, like, oops, but we're gonna leave it. Here's the reality. It's actually scarier than this. Facebook doesn't listen to what you say. Sometimes. There have been some stories about, some issues for sure. But when it comes to this particular TV, do you know how Facebook was able to deliver that ad to me? Because of algorithms. Because they track what I say when I say it, who I'm talking to. And it's not so much so it's like this. If every time someone's about to buy a TV, they do a specific thing that's really, really simple. Like, this is how crazy it can get. Let's say somehow they've determined that with their billion-plus users, every time someone buys a TV, they just so happen to have a good portion, maybe half, just so happened to have drank a glass of milk. I'm using a random data point. I'm just making the point that there are things you don't realize that can signify to artificial intelligence what your thought process is and where it will lead you. Facebook uses these kinds of things to deliver effective ads. There's a story about there's like a young girl was pregnant, and her father found out because she received something in the mail that said, like, what to expect when you're expecting or something like that, like, congratulations on getting pregnant. And what had happened was the girl had been searching for specific objects not necessarily related to pregnancy, but most pregnant women were searching for similar objects. And thus, the algorithm said, with high probability she's pregnant, send out this ad. It was something like that. I could be wrong. So, yes, Big Brother is watching, but it's worse. There's no evil Mark Zuckerberg walking past, listening to what you're saying and spying on you to deliver ads. In fact, it is a massive network that tracks your behaviors, your location, and who you're friends with to such a degree they can predict what you will do before you will do it and serve ads they think you will actually click on. At a certain point, the algorithms it becomes like a recursive loop where they'll feed you a product, and by feeding you that product, it triggers behavior in certain ways, and now they're actually manipulating you. Facebook is a nightmarish hell beast. But let me tell you a few other horror stories while we're on the subject of Facebook. They have a thing that's I believe it's called dark profiles or something like that. Did you know that even if you have never signed up for Facebook, they have a profile on you with your name and likely your address and your friends and all that. And it's used for, advertisements. Here's how it works. When you go on Facebook Messenger, your phone asks you if they can access your contact list. Most people say yes, assuming that'll suggest friends to you. What they don't know is that in my phone, if I have, Bill Johnson, 5551234, They put in their database Bill Johnson's phone number, 555-1234. But here's the thing. My brother knows Bill. My cousin knows Bill. We all know Bill. They've now created a friend network of everyone who has the same phone number as the same Bill Johnson. But it gets crazier. Let's say one of them takes that phone number, 555-1234, and it's saved to their phone as stupid ex-boyfriend. They now know who Bill Johnson was dating, even though Bill Johnson never signed up for Facebook. Because everyone else is volunteering data on you without you giving them permission to do it. They're called something to the effect of like dark profiles. What ends up happening is Facebook knows everything about you and you don't even know this, okay? They know who you date even if you don't put it on your profile. They know where you've been, what you're doing, and they can even predict with great certainty where you will go later in the day. There was one story not too long ago about how they could actually predict where you would eat lunch based on your behaviors that morning. So yes, is Big Brother watching? Big Brother is watching. Literally the smallest, most minute thing you do is watched and tracked by the system for the purpose of advertising. But again, the nightmare dystopia that we're walking into, which is, there are many different kinds, will leave us in this particular nightmare. The recursive algorithmic loop resulted on YouTube in videos of Hitler dancing with the Incredible Hulk. That was something we saw. That happened because YouTube, the videos that would get the most watch time had to do with certain keywords, and certain keywords were heavier, more controversial. And so eventually, computer programs were designing videos around basic keywords to get more autoplay, to be recommended more. And the most recommended videos were like the Hulk dancing while they sang Finger Family. Think about what happens when we're being fed advertisements via the algorithm. We then get influenced by those advertisements and feed information back into the system, which it feeds back and forth. You end up in a world where one person made one change to the algorithm. Like, obviously they have a big team, but there's one individual at Facebook saying, hey, this tweak will fix the algorithm. Chain reaction. Now everybody's watching videos of Kung Fu Hitler fighting the Incredible Hulk. That literally happened. I'm not joking. So, to wrap this up, should Mark Zuckerberg be outed? I don't know if that's the problem. Facebook itself is the problem. Facebook is a huge problem. But admittedly, YouTube has these problems. Twitter has these problems. Social media is a nightmare. And it's affecting politics in an insane way. Absolutely insane. I'm going to leave it here. I've got another video coming up at 4 p.m. today on my main channel. I will see you there.